Our expert panelists joining us today are Dr. Richard Palmquist, integrative veterinarian and owner of Centinela Animal Hospital, Dr. Christina Chambreau, internationally known homeopathic veterinarian, lecturer, and teacher, Joan Ranquet, animal communicator, teacher, author, lecturer, and owner of Communication with All Life University, and Irit Bloom, professional pet trainer, author, presenter, teacher, and owner of The Sophisticated Dog. We're thrilled to welcome a special guest to our team of experts today, Lola Michelin. Lola founded the Northwest School of Animal Massage in 2001 and has been practicing for over 30 years. As a Michigan State University animal science graduate, she brings experience from both veterinary and zoological fields. Lola runs a private animal practice, teaches, and develops curricula. She consults with zoo veterinary teams and owns Poxia Farm, an equine retirement and rehabilitation facility on Vashon Island. Though she's well-versed in many areas, we've asked her to share her insights on the benefits of animal massage and its role as a vital healing tool. Welcome, Lola. Thanks for joining us. Let's start this conversation with a question from Dr. Christina Chambreau.
I'm so tickled to have you be here because I know that you're speaking about how massage can be used by everybody. It is easy enough to learn, and taking your course, and I bet you have other avenues of teaching people as well rather than hands-on. Mm-hmm. But how particularly can massage help when an animal is not feeling well? And right now, with all of the restrictions, you're not able to get right to a veterinarian. You have to wait for 2 or 3 weeks. What can you do with massage at home?
Well, thank you for that question. That's great. Because massage does have many different levels to it. And I agree with you that everybody can learn massage and should learn massage. And in fact, most pet owners really are already doing some form of massage when they're grooming, or even just in the time you spend petting your pets. They're getting some of the benefits that they would get from massage. But then I always compare it to like care. You want to be brushing and flossing yourself. And similarly, you want to be petting and grooming your dog or your cat, and that will give them some of the massage benefits. But sometimes, we got to go in for a more thorough cleaning. So we need somebody with a little more skill, like a hygienist or a technician, who can really kind of see what's going on and let us know if we need to kind of take a deeper exploration, like we maybe need to see the dentist if there's a problem. So animal massage is kind of the same. Pet owners and horse owners should and can do things that will benefit their pets on their own. And then they can work with professionals like myself to make sure that if there's bigger problems brewing, we're getting in early and we're making sure that we're managing things. And also somebody with expertise to notice if we really do need to, move on to veterinarian care. So there's a place for massage at every level.
I'll tell you, I've got 3 horses lined up for when you're coming to visit me.
I look forward to it.
And some dogs and cats. But anyway, one thing that I always think of with body work, and to your comment about getting the professional in, is, I always say that we as humans can, when we have a challenge in our life or we're around stressful situations like the humans may be in a household, but I can call my friend and say, oh my God, Claudia, you can't believe what happened. And then call another friend, Ellie, you're not going to believe what happened. But our animals live with the stress in the household, and their only expression is basically either behavior or, they can vocalize certainly, but they end up expressing through behavior if a lot of this isn't released. And maybe you could talk about the benefits of the emotional transformation that animals can have, particularly new animals that maybe came from a traumatic situation.
Well, we all know, touch is our first sense. And for puppies and kittens that are born blind and deaf, like touch is the original stimulus for all of our systems, physiologically, spiritually, psychologically. And the skin derives from the same layer of embryonic tissue as the brain. So when we're doing massage, we're communicating with the central nervous system in a really direct way, and we can affect a lot of the behaviors that we see in our animals, especially when we see them changing. And like you said, it could be stress in their environment, and stress can take many forms. Even a dog or cat going home from a shelter who's just been adopted, and they're going into their forever home, which for all of us as humans, we're thinking this is just a brilliant, wonderful situation for them. And yet it can be really stressful for the pet to be in this new situation and figure out what their role is. And massage can kind of help with integrating them into that new home. But the owners at that point may or may not recognize that stress in their animals, especially an animal they're not familiar with yet. And it can also be on the other side of the coin is a lot of the animals I work with are geriatric. So it may be that as the animal is experiencing dementia and their behavior is changing because of their understanding of their environment is dramatically changing from morning to night. Massage can be an excellent tool for people to help manage those changing environments for their pets. Even though nothing in the environment changed, if the animal's aging is creating a change in their perception, then massage can be a great tool in helping them manage that.
I don't believe that anyone's done any research to look at whether the intention of the touch makes a difference, but all of us who do the work know that it does. If you touch a dog in fear, the dog's not going to settle in for a nice massage. And if you touch a dog in love, the dog pretty much flunks right down in your lap and sits there and shows you where to put your hands. Do you know of any research in the area of massage and intention?
Well, I do know of a couple instances where it is mentioned in the research, although I don't know that was the focus of the research. But HeartMath Institute has published a number of things about even just the being within the electromagnetic field and how intention changes the appearance of the electromagnetic field. So I do think from that perspective, intention from the moment that our therapist animal relationship or guardian animal relationship, that intention really does set the tone for everything that happens afterwards, as you mentioned. And a lot of massage work, even though we're using the skin as kind of our doorway to the body, we're working with that, like you said, that middle ground, that negative space just under the skin, where we're influencing so much of the fascia and the extracellular matrix that is so critical to stimulating those thought patterns or those behavior patterns that are established early on. And also, creating a positive influence even in situations where maybe those first instances of touch were either absent or were not positive, then, being able to subsequently layer more and more positive influence to try to create those facilitated segments that can change the conversation between the gut and the parasympathetic nervous system and the central nervous system. So, I think intention, we teach that in our classes, that in the opening of our session, which starts the moment we're even consciously connecting to that animal. So if I know that I have an appointment with a horse at 10 a.m., when I start leave the house to drive to that appointment, I'm already consciously setting intention and setting the stage for that, and maybe already starting the conversation with the animal or doing some, Reiki for both myself and the animal, so that when I do come into their electromagnetic field, it is with that positive intention, even though I may come into a situation where an animal is frustrated or confused or there's distractions. And so it may take me some time to get them settled into the massage. But if I come in with an intention that is either, I'm thinking of other things or I'm not thinking specifically about that session at all, then it definitely is going to disrupt any progress at that point.
As domesticated species and athletes, horses and other companion animals have unique physical and emotional needs, and the many benefits of various therapies, including massage, acupressure, aromatherapy, and traditional mechanical treatments, can assist equines, dogs, cats, and other animals in their activities and aging process. The Northwest School of Animal Massage provides career training and courses for animal lovers, taught by professionals from within the industry, that addresses the many health challenges horses and companion animals face today. Here, all students are honored students, given the training, tools, and opportunity by highly experienced instructors to learn techniques that are proven to have profound effects on animals of all ages and stages. This is where you can turn your love of horses and companion animals into a fulfilling career. Learn more today about the Northwest School of Animal Massage, where the future is in your hands.
All pets respond to soothing touch, but they can't always tell us how much it hurts. That's why treating them at home with LumaSoothe 2 is priceless. LumaSoothe 2 puts advanced light therapy in the palm of your hand. This safe, non-invasive treatment relieves arthritis, back pain, and general deep inflammation, along with skin injuries and regrowing hair. 2 simple modes provide comforting care that works naturally with your vet's advice. Visit lumasoothe.com for the light therapy that feels like love.
Yes. So first of all, I'm a huge proponent of massage for animals. I think it's incredibly beneficial. I've seen it have remarkable benefits for both animals in my life and animals that are in my clients' lives. The question I want to ask you, you've been talking about the approach as you come to give a massage. I'm wondering what you do with animals who are perhaps a little bit hesitant about that touch. Mm-hmm. How do you deal with, the cat who doesn't want you to be there necessarily, or the dog who is fine when you're massaging her neck but doesn't love it when you're massaging her hips? Can you talk a little bit about that? And obviously these are professionals doing this, so I do want to stress that's part of what makes you such great professionals.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And that is a interesting subject, because one of the things, I worked as a vet tech for a number of years and worked in vet clinics and as a equine trainer as well. And one of the big differences when we're doing massage is that we don't have to get something done in a set amount of time. As a vet tech, if I'm having a client bring their dog in and we're taking blood or we're doing an exam, we kind of have to get the work done, and we try to find the way to do it for the greatest ease of the animal. But, we may only have that 20 minutes to really get the work done. But with massage, we're building a relationship that is probably going to extend, hopefully, the lifetime of that animal. And we're going to establish that whether we're doing a weekly session or every other week session, we don't have to get a certain amount of work done in any one session. So many cases, that first session is just sitting with the animal, using other types of tools. Many body workers also have forms of energy work that they do. I might be doing Reiki with the animal. I might be doing introduction of aromatics with the animal, so that they're not being required to have physical contact until they're ready. Usually I find within 3 sessions, I have total buy-in. Because they're associative learners, I can bring that in too. I'm trying to make sure that when I'm scheduling the massages, they're in a similar environment. They're in maybe the same time of day. I might use a blanket that I only use during my sessions with that animal, so they start to associate my presence with the massage. But you're absolutely right. That first session, we're letting the animal dictate a lot of how much contact we're going to have and what type of contact. And then we build from there. I also often coach my students that when we come into a session, as a human, I associate massage with relaxation, and I book my appointments. So when I show up for my massage, I know I'm wanting to get on the table and relax. But for the dog or the cat, I'm coming into their home. They didn't schedule the massage. They don't necessarily know why I'm there. They might think, great, let's play a game, or let's do something, let's go outside. And so I have to kind of create the environment that invites them in. And sometimes it means I have to meet them at their energy and do something maybe active with them at first, or be, non-contact, just having a conversation at first. And then I work my way in so that I can, get us to a common place energetically. But yeah, it is nice to not have the pressure of needing to get specific work done in the time frame. Sometimes I do have to set the expectations of the owners around that too, so that they understand, like, we're just going to spend some time getting to know each other. I do a lot of work in shelters, and as mentioned before, I do a lot of work with zoological teams. So we have to be really creative when we're introducing massage to a primate or a big cat or something like that. It's really got to be on their terms, but also inviting in a way that we're, engaging them so they want to explore what the massage is going to be.
I would love to talk a little bit about myofascial release and what I know that you teach that, and I'm going to come to that class. And what that does for the animal, maybe if they've had a traumatic circumstance, well, if the fascia is stuck, there probably is a trauma, but maybe you could talk about what that does for animals.
Oh, well, thank you for asking. Myofascial release is one of my favorite subject areas and one of my favorite modalities. The fascial system, we just learn more and more and more about it as the years go by, but it's such a complex system. And because it integrates every tissue in the body, and we know now that it also integrates a lot of our emotional consciousness with our physicality. So yes, fascial traumas, whether they are like physical traumas that introduce scarring or restriction in the fascia, or they could be emotional traumas or even just emotional experiences that may or may not be traumatic, but they may put a stress on that system. For instance, if you have an animal who is maybe a service dog, and they love their work and they love their person, but their job involves having a certain equipment on and doing certain things related to that. And so that's going to start to create postures and pressures in their body and their fascial system that are unique to that experience. So that can also shadow into other aspects of their life. So myofascial release is a modality where we're focusing on working with that fascial tissue, and specifically the fascia that's most closely associated to the muscle. So it's just a way that we do the massage that is focusing on that system, but it can be very powerful in terms of addressing both physical and emotional issues. And I will say this, when fascial tissue becomes restricted, either as a result of dehydration or a chemical imbalance or some sort of trauma, or just posturing, it doesn't have to be a traumatic posture, but just posturing, it will create behavioral changes in many animals because it feels itchy, it feels tight. It's like when you have too many layers of clothes on and one of them is not, agreeing with the others, you're going to be fidget, you're going to be easily irritated. If you're tacking up a horse who's got fascial restriction and you're tightening a girth or putting a bit in their mouth, they're going to be a little bit concerned about that because it causes a lot of these itching, burning feelings in their body. So the myofascial release it's transformative for animals and people.
How do you identify where on the body the fascia needs releasing?
Sometimes it's visual. Like sometimes you can just see that the skin is either puckered in an area where it shouldn't be, or that where you should see muscle definition, you're just seeing one kind of blank canvas because everything's so tight that you can't see definition. Many times it's visible during movement. So if we're looking at how the animal is moving, both, I might look at a dog both when it's got its harness and leash on and when it doesn't, or I might look at a horse when it's got its equipment on versus when it doesn't. And oftentimes the fascial restriction will show up because something is binding or something is interfering with the proper movement. So it's largely visual. When you feel the fascia, which we access the fascia on a superficial level, knowing that the fascial system is like a fluid web in the body. Everything on the surface communicates to deeper structures as well. So if we just move the skin around, we can sometimes feel that, it's moving some directions, but it's restricted in other directions. That could indicate fascia that's restricted both on the surface and in the lower layers. So and then once we identify it, it's just kind of sinking into that tissue and waiting and letting the tissue really tell us, because only the body knows how that posture was created and only the body can unwind it. I just become a focal point for that and kind of helping to suggest, let's try this type of movement, or maybe we want to go here, and then wait for the body to answer. It's a very meditative process, and it's a very I can't do it to the animal. The animal has to be the one to show me the path.
I just had this done. I had a bad accident, broke my jaw, and had a concussion, and in one session, my holistic practitioner is brilliant with myofascial release, and she's amazing, and I see her for that probably more than anything. But in one session in the accident, my head was bent back and my neck was hyperflexed until my head almost touched my back, and I had really horrible whiplash and a lot of pain. And as she did the myofascial release, my body actually led us to me being punched in the back of the head. I was sucker punched by this kid when I was like 10 years old. And I saw double for like 3 days afterwards. And I made a full recovery, right, according to everyone. But I've always had pain in my left eye. Always felt like my eye was pulling in my head. And during the session, actually, my brain shifted in the brain case. And when that happened, my brain rotated down. It was actually knocked up by that original injury. Yeah. And then that injury was re-stimulated in the fascia by that fall. When that was reduced, my neck gained almost a ½ inch in length, and all my whiplash pain disappeared. So, as a person who can verbalize that and say, this is what's happening and this is what I saw, there's value in it from that perspective. But to know that you can do that for an animal without communication, because as you said, and is so important, the fascia actually knows what you don't know. And as a practitioner, you don't go and say, I'm going to fix the fascial plane that goes down the brachial plexus. You put your hands on the patient and you watch, because the muscles will start to twitch that need to work. And these little things will happen. And in my case, I kept shaking my head one way, and my practitioner said, is that you thinking? Because I think too much when I get work. And she said, is that you thinking, or is that your body? I said, no, that's my body. And when she asked me, I realized that's me saying no. It's me saying no, and then saying, I'm okay. No, I don't need to go to the principal. No, I don't need to go to the nurse. No, I don't need anything. I'm fine. I'm okay. So Christina would laugh and go, that means you need arnica, but
maybe it wouldn't hurt.
Never arnica. I just went off about my business because I didn't want to get beat up by this kid again for getting him in trouble. So all that misemotion was there, and all of it came out. And I was always afraid of things coming out of the blue and impeding my function. And as a result of that one little session, all that stuff sort of released. So I just really, people have to recognize the magnitude of laying your hands on someone in an educated way and then doing that work. So that's really powerful.
Right. And like you say, the animals, any animal is going to layer experiences. And so many times people don't know what the early years were for their animal. They might, not come into communion with that animal until later in both their lives. And so working with a myofascial therapist can, even though we might never know why, I've had, numerous horses that have come through the rehabilitation facility here where, similar to your experience, we're focusing on the injury or the event that brought them to me, and so many other things rise to the surface. I mean, not long ago, Joan was with us to teach an animal communication class on our campus, and she took some time to talk to one of my horses, and I knew that he had had some event in his past that was aggravating other physical things that happened after that. And, she was able to just tune into that, and we were able to walk him back through that in a way that has completely changed the way that he moves now.
That's awesome.
And yeah, there wasn't anything within my therapeutic tools that I could do to bring that out, even though I was addressing a lot of the physical pain. The marriage of the two has really transformed him. So thank you, Joe.
Thank you. I love working with you. So
It was just so perfect, Lola, what you were saying, how for your horse, for your own horse, it needed really a combination of modalities. And that's what's so exciting about integrative medicine, is that you can learn so many things you can do yourself at home and know that you never need to give up hope. Whatever is going on with your animals, there's always another modality out there that you can work with. So I really want to thank you for bringing that up, Lola. And then I have a question for you, which is from a sustainability aspect. I find that all of the work you're doing, the different modalities of acupressure and aromatherapy and myofascial release, massage, none of them have any cost to the environment at all once you've learned how to do it. So you want to talk just a little bit about how these methods can actually be helpful for our environment?
Oh yeah, I love that you brought that in. That's I hadn't thought of it that way, but you're absolutely right. I don't really have to consume a lot of resources to do the work that I do. I would say with the aromatics, there is an element to it that I love some of the sustainability factors that can be built into providing animals with access to aromatics. And by that, I mean, like at the farm that I am on, we do some forest farming, and we're a conservation farm of merit, the rehab and retirement facility that I operate. And one of the things that we're doing is building berms with different plantings that would give the horses here and the goats and the chickens actually an opportunity to free graze on a lot of different herbs and things that they would naturally encounter in the wild, but don't have the opportunity in today's management systems where so much is monoculture. And people can do that. You know, you can grow wheatgrass or herbs for your animals and give them access to that, and that might help reduce your dependency on supplementations from the store. If you can grow something that will help supplement your animal, then you don't have to be dependent on somebody processing it, manufacturing it, packaging it, and you having to buy it at the store. With some, minimal training and knowledge, most people could grow a pretty straightforward herb garden that would give them some medicinal benefits for their animals. And that's part of what we teach too. And so I think there is a lot of sustainability, not just in the modalities that I do, because of course, as you say, as long as I have my hands, I can address, I always tell our students, all of the different tools that we use that are wonderful, ultrasound, lasers, lots of the electromagnetic field frequency devices are all wonderful, but basically they either address a chemical need, electrical need, or a magnetic need in the animal. And guess what? These are chemical, electrical, mechanical, and they got a few systems in them that all those other things don't. So, you can address so much through that without having to, be dependent on making something or buying something. Not that there's not place for that. And I do appreciate you, mentioning that the integration of everything, because I work with chiropractors, acupuncturists, herbalists. I mean, it takes a village, right?
I built a little mini paddock paradise, and I'm doing for my horses. So it's a track system where the horses walk around all day. I'm actually going to grow some herbs in there also, so I can't wait for your expertise on that.
Yeah, I have a question. So you were talking about how this is one of the modalities that you teach to your students. And earlier when we were talking, I was saying how how beneficial I personally have found to have a professional certified massage therapist working with the animals in my life or the lives of the people I work with. And I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit about how to find an appropriate professional, because I know that animal massage is largely unregulated, which means it can be harder for people to figure out who's truly competent and who is not.
Yeah. Thank you for that question. That's been a big part of my history, is helping legislators get an appreciation for what it is we do. And like, I'm here in Washington State, which is actually the only state that does require a separate license for animal massage. We are considered a health professional under the Department of Health in Washington, but many states are not regulated. So one thing that consumers can do is they can there's a organization called NABCAM. It's the National Board of Certification for Animal Acupressure and Massage, NBCAAM, and they have a directory on their website. So their members, you can find their members on their website, which is nabcam.org. And that they have to take a national exam. So they have to have had a minimum training that includes anatomy, physiology, behavior, kinesiology, meaning the study of movement, not just applied kinesiology, and pathology, and of course, massage or acupressure. So that directory is a good place for people to start. I think just, talking to the people that once you do find a professional you want to work with, asking them about their training. Most of us are really excited to tell you how we got our training, who our mentors were. And likewise, if you're working with somebody and they can't really tell you where they got their training, then, maybe you want to explore working with somebody else. Our program is a minimum of 300 hours. And most of our students, that's just the first level. So most of the students take 3 levels of training in order to have a wide range of tools to use. So as I said before, I do strongly encourage pet owners and horse owners to pursue basic training themselves, because everybody can do some level of this work. And if you know the basics, it helps impress upon you the need for having a relationship with a professional in the times that you do need a little extra help. It's kind of like, I always call it the boyfriend massage. That's great. Everybody likes that. But sometimes it makes you realize, now I really need a massage. Now I got to book a massage to get the rest of it. And I guess, girlfriend, boyfriend massage, however, whatever works for your environment. But definitely, I think professionals when I started this 35 years ago, there were not very many schools that taught animal massage. I had to cobble together my vet tech training, my human massage training, and then find mentors. I followed a gentleman named Jack Marr for a while to learn, and then Mimi Porter and a lot of different people who, through their books and their lectures and things, I was able to cobble things together. But nowadays, there's lots of great schools out there that people can go to.
How
to
many?
Get training.
How many would you say there are?
At this point, I would say at least 30, which isn't a huge number, but compared to the 2 when I started.
But Lola's is the best.
One other thing I want to add to your question, Arit, is that one of the ways you can tell, those of you who are watching All Paws Pet Talk TV, if you've got a good person working with your animal, is do they want that person to work with them? Number one. Number two, is that person coming in and just starting and not taking the time, as Lola talked about, to get in relationship with your animal? And then what happened after the first session or second session? Are they feeling better or not feeling better? So your animal will tell you what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah. I would say give it 3 sessions.
3. Okay, good.
I was just going to say the same thing. Sometimes the first massage brings out problems that the second and third massage need to resolve. And it's not that the therapist did anything wrong. Okay. It's that there's so many layers to the problem. Yeah. So, because I've seen that personally in animals that I've dealt with.
For sure. But they should at least have a plan for that. At the end of the first session, they should be able to recognize, like, well, okay, I didn't get the response I expected from that, but that's going to help us next time. I just finished a talk with our Seattle Guide Dogs for the Blind group, and it was like 45 people with pets of various ages that are in the training program, and some that were retired. And, that was the focus of it. It was like, what can they do in the home? And I think it's important for people, especially right now where, it isn't always easy to get into your veterinarian right now, and veterinarians are very busy. So it's nice to have some things you can do at home. The probably the most significant thing is something most people are already doing. And that's just basically resting your hands on your animal, what we call passive touch, and petting your animal, just long strokes with the palm of your hand. And I tell people, if you could do that for even 10 minutes, 3 times a week, like set aside 10 minutes at least every other day, like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or, not 3 days in a row, but give it a day in between. But if you could do that 3 times, the best benefit that that's going to give you is you will know your animal's body in a way that if something changes, you will know it. And then you will know, do I need to talk to my vet? Do I need to bring in a professional? So getting so familiar with what your animal's body feels like is going to give you the greatest benefit of just being able to monitor their health. They're going to get a lot of the benefits of, healthier skin, better immune function, healthier fascia, better circulation. But you may not be aware of that as the pet owner of those things, but you'll know if all of a sudden there's a lump or something's painful that wasn't a couple days ago.
Your fingers get smarter with use. So when you lay your hands on the dog, we tell people, we show them in the practice. It's like, look, you come down here symmetrically on both sides. And then if you feel an area that's tighter or looser or warmer or cooler, just massage that area. And usually it will heat up because the circulation will come into that blocked fascia. And if somebody's doing that at home, maybe 6 weeks before the disc herniates and you've increased the circulation, you may prevent a disc herniation or reduce it so that it doesn't need medication or surgery.
Yeah, definitely your tools get smarter. And I also think that by taking that time to just focus on your animal, like you're probably doing those things with your pets anyway. If I'm grooming my horses to get them ready to ride, if I'm, just petting my dog because I'm watching Netflix, but there it's like, that's the exchange, and it's more for me or as much for me as it is for the pet. But setting aside those 10 minutes where like, this is all about you. This is just me touching your body and making sure that you're comfortable everywhere. It really does change your intention, and how you feel things, because you're not thinking about like, it's just soothing for me or it's just play between us. This is like, I'm checking you out and I'm making sure that you are healthy and happy. So thank you for drawing attention to that.
Thank you so much, Lola. And thank you to our panel for this amazing show. Lola, is there a way for our viewers to find out more about you?
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to visit our website, it is the Northwest School of Animal Massage. So the acronym is NWSAM.com. And we also have many classes coming up that we'll be teaching, and we host a lot of people like Joan and others to teach a wide variety of topics. So you can also email us at info@nwsam.com, or you can call our toll-free number 877-836-3703. And those of us in the office are always thrilled to talk to people about massage, acupressure, and other therapies for our animals.
If you at home would like to be a part of the conversation, you can email your questions to our website. This has been a wonderfully informative show, and it reminds me that petting, scratching, and cuddling an animal can be as soothing to the mind and heart as deep meditation and almost as good for the soul as prayer. We'll see you again soon. Until then, love your pets. Medical information obtained from our website or the live show is not intended to be a substitute for professional care. If your pet has or you suspect they might have an illness or other medical condition, you should consult a healthcare provider. The opinions expressed on this TV program are not necessarily those of Smart Pet Talk, this TV show, or their sponsors. For all questions or info on sponsorship, email us at info@smartpettalk.com or visit our website at smartpettalk.com.